We are back with 428 Shibuya Scramble, and we find ourselves nearly at an impasse, but then, wait, we can play as Zachi, although not really. Wait, didn't I select jump? Do I have to reselect something? I guess we'll find out. An odd man? Have I already done this? Nope, that ain't good. I need to go back. There was a different jump I wanted, actually. But where was it? Because I want to go to Kano, specifically. Who was able to jump to him? It wasn't me, no. That's Taachi. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was this. Yeah, that's more like it. We're doing it. Hello there, DJ Gamer. Alright, now we can continue Kano's story. Let's go. I'm excited. Boom. We're in. Hitomi, I don't like having to do this, but we can't wait any longer, right? This was the thing that inevitably took us to a keep out. We had to get moving. But now that we've gotten another story going, something different might happen. Seeing the look of determination on Kano's face, she gave a tiny, reluctant nod. Her shoulders began to tremble. Hitomi, I'll be alright. I'm just a little nervous, that's all. She had a right to be nervous. Alphard was after the antiviral that she had in her bloodstream. Hello there, insane buffoon. Once he had it, Hitomi would become a liability that he'd want to dispose of. And right now, the only person who could keep her safe was Kano. He clenched his jaw tight and tried to look confident. Please, just try to relax. I'll protect you with my life if I have to. But wait! Protecting Hitomi is my job. Achi, you're back! I said I'd see you through to the very end. Oh. This is the going to next chapter music. I love this theme. I love this theme. I said I'd see you through to the very end, didn't I? Yeah. Yeah, you did. Hitomi gazed back at Achi with grateful reassurance. Ahem. Kano cleared his throat softly, but Achi and Hitomi continued to stare earnestly at one another. Eventually, the tough-looking young man standing behind Achi spoke up. I've got 30. Will that be enough? Yeah, Kano nodded. That'll be fine. More importantly, have you heard what we'll be doing yet? Catch the bad guy, keep Shibuya safe. Same old thing we always do. The guy flashed a grin. You got it, Kano said. We'll be counting on you then. With 30-odd people at their disposal, they'd be able to encircle the meeting area no problem. The preparations were all set. It was time to confront Alphard at last. All right, Detective, Achi shouted. Let's do this. Kano gave a firm nod. Oh, it's almost 7. We got 50 seconds. 9 minutes later, 6:59 p.m., Kano and the others were in position around the scramble. Each subtle take of the second hand was like a sharp prod to Kano's nerves. His whole body was stiff with tension. They could not let themselves fail. There was too much at stake. Here, now, hundreds of thousands of lives were on the line. Oh, we get video for this? With Shibuya on lockdown, the area around the scramble had been seized by panic and there had been multiple traffic collisions. The sidewalks were crowded with scared people, overturned cars, and abandoned motorcycles clogged the streets. Amidst the chaos, emergency vehicles sped by at furious speeds. But the fire and emergency personnel, and even the police, were short-handed. And the whole of Shibuya had begun to look like a war zone. The main roads had been blocked to normal traffic, and trains weren't stopping at the stations. In effect, the city was in a state of complete shutdown. Meowington, we're not going to get a bad ending this chapter, because I already got the achievement for having gotten all 1 bad endings. Kano glanced again at his wristwatch. 6:59 p.m. and 10 seconds. 11 seconds. 12 seconds. 13 seconds. 14 seconds. He scarcely remembered to breathe. Hitomi stood in front of the statue of Hachiko. She wasn't carrying an attaché case this time, but the moment was otherwise a strange mirror of the stakeout at 10 o'clock that morning. Oh, again, video. Hey, real life. Superior graphics. She looked terrified. Kano couldn't blame her. The criminals weren't after some case full of money this time. This time, they were out for blood. Her blood. Literally. Kano did a slow scan of the area. Achi was standing not too far away. His companions were strewn about here and there, carrying on as normal. Here in Shibuya, those guys fit right in with the crowd. And they had the area around Hitomi completely surrounded. Yet again, Kano looked at his watch. 6:59 p.m., 35 seconds. 36 seconds, 37 seconds, 38 seconds, 39 seconds. He forced himself to take several deep breaths. He focused on the sound of his own heartbeat and exhaled until all the breath was expelled from his lungs. And then, it all started. Kano's cell phone rang. I've got him. It was Daisuke, the organ trafficker who devised the kidnapping. It's him. Where is he? Kano asked. Is he close by? I've got him on camera now. He's on the other side of the intersection. Kano looked out across the scramble. There were so many people that it was hard to tell who was or wasn't suspicious. Can you describe him for me? The tall foreign guy. The one wearing glasses. A tall foreigner. Kano's eyes drifted over the crowd. Yeah, I was right, it's Leyland. He's an organ trafficker? Aha. There he was. And as he got closer, Kano's eyes went wide. This man was someone he'd met before. Leyland Palmer. The lecturer from the English department at Hitomi and Maria's school. Is he Alphard? Palmer was walking right toward Hitomi. Hitomi didn't seem to have noticed him yet. When Kano glanced back at his wristwatch, it was 7 p.m. on the dot. When Hitomi realized Palmer was approaching her, she was too stunned to react. He walked directly up to her, the corners of his mouth curling up into a smile. Hello, Hitomi, he said in English. How are you doing? Professor Palmer? What are you doing here? Hitomi's voice came out in an anxious squeak. Why, I'm here to take your blood, of course. This time he spoke Japanese, and with an easy fluency totally different from his usual manner of speech. No way. So he's been speaking in broken Japanese for a long time just to keep up the charade of being a foreigner? That's impressive. Interesting. I'm the one who injected you with the UA virus. English teachers, the most dangerous people around. I'd been waiting so long for the opportunity to arise. It's been quite agonizing, you know, spending 6 months and more pretending to be a mild-mannered news reporter, mild-mannered English lecturer. Professor, you're Alphard, aren't you? Let's get down to business, shall we? Neither of us has much time. Hitomi stiffened. Please tell me the laboratory password. After I have your blood. This will only take a few seconds. I've got a device here that will make the extraction quite simple. No way. The password first. That would violate the terms we already negotiated. Hitomi and Palmer glared at one another. Alright, Hitomi said at last. Why don't you negotiate with Kanan instead? Kanan? Hitomi took her cell phone out and dialed. And he just lets it go? But the phone rang repeatedly and Kanan did not pick up. Wait, hold on. What's going on? Hitomi's face went pale. Come on, Kanan. Kano, standing near enough to overhear their conversation, grew increasingly anxious as he watched the pair stare at the phone. What was the right move here? Should he keep waiting? He had to hope talking to Kanan would work out. Kano waited for the call to go through. At this point, they couldn't count on Kanan anymore. Kano rushed into action. Ladies and gentlemen, Make your decision. We are at a genuinely crucial moment here. I don't know if this is a choice that'll matter or not, but this feels very important. So how is this going to work? A, wait. B, we gotta get going and go after the guy who never actually identified himself as Alphard, but is likely Alphard. Damn English teacher. I should have known from the beginning. We have 2 votes for B. But do we have any others? We have 1 vote for A. But do we have any others? 2 for A. So now we're at an impasse. 3 for A. We're moving on. Anybody else? 4 for A. Alright, it looks like we're going for A. Maintain our faith and trust. But Kanan never answered. Had something happened to her in Tateno? Kano felt his heart pounding. Now then, shall I take what I came here for? Palmer took a step closer to Hitomi. Kano reacted instinctively. Freeze! He drew his gun and trained it on the criminal, so this might have been a non-choice. Nearby pedestrians scattered in fear. Seizing the moment, Achi! Darted in to protect Hitomi. There's our moment. Palmer let out a tiny sigh. Yada yada to say. So you're breaking the terms we agreed upon then? I don't negotiate with terrorists. Kano inched his way closer, his point of aim never wavering. Hitomi, he shouted. Call Kanan again. Again, Hitomi dialed her cell phone. Palmer opened the attaché case he was carrying. One more move and I shoot, Kano shouted. But the terrorist ignored the warning, producing a set of small glass vessels from within the case. If you want to shoot me, then shoot me, he said. Assuming you don't mind this getting scattered about. Is that? Surely you don't need me to explain. No, I don't, and don't call me Shirley. Stanley was right. Alphard had weaponized the virus. Doing his best to conceal his horror, Kano tried to sound defiant. How can I even know that's real? You can't let that loose here. This is probably a non-choice, but, chat, what am I doing here? Questioning the validity of Palmer's actions? Or B, come on, seriously, you guys. How is this gonna work? Hello there, Ichigo Berry. Yeah, right, Winterburn. Oh no! That glass will be hell to clean up. We have 1 vote for B. 1 vote for A. 2 for B. 2 for A. 3 for A. It doesn't matter but B. That's what I think as well, but 3 for B, 4 for A. 5 for A. Alright. A it is. It was entirely possible this was all bluff. Ah, indeed. These could all be a fake. Would you care to test that theory? Palmer flashed a coy smile, holding out his fistful of vials. He began to tilt them slowly back and forth, letting them clink against each other. Ooh. They were fake. No, maybe they were real. Kano couldn't quite decide, and he couldn't take any rash action if there was even the possibility these were the real thing. Did you come here to carry out a suicide attack, Mr. Alphard? Hardly. I have no desire to die here. All I want is to get a little of this girl's blood and then go quietly on my way. But that all depends on you, doesn't it? His face was overflowing with confidence. Kano couldn't shake the feeling that something was off here. Something about this man's demeanor hinted at something. Well then, what will it be? Palmer continued. Will you condemn the people of Shibuya to death? Cursing inwardly, Kana lowered his gun. Yet Meowington, it certainly would mean that he'd be infected as well, but maybe this is a... it's a move that there's no way Kana would risk. Palmer flashed a triumphant grin, then resumed his stroll toward Hitomi. She stood frozen on the spot. Susumu! The shout had come from Achi! Really? Two different? Okay. In an instant, a dozen members of SOS headed toward Palmer from all sides. Tough luck, pal, Susumu said. Turns out we're not actually innocent bystanders. Now it was his turn to grin. You're completely surrounded. Give up and tell us the password now. And just for the record, we ain't scared of no virus. The tough-looking young man radiated bravado. Without hesitation, they closed in around the kidnapper. Surrounded. You certainly don't look like police. Palmer cast a bemused glance around himself. You're right about that, Achi said. I mean, just take a look. I gathered up a bunch of people who love Shibuya more than their own lives in order to take your ass down. He kept Hitomi shielded behind him while he spoke. Yeah, right? Fakafan says watching an English teacher dupe the entire police force of Shibuya, and Winterburn's like, that's why Lotus picked this game to play. Right? It was a very long con. 3 months of this game, all for this moment. I knew it all along! There's no escape, he declared. You've lost. Lost? Me? Well, it sure doesn't look like you're gonna get away. Palmer grimaced at Achi's words. I see. Then, it appears our negotiations are at a close. Enough of the high and mighty act. Susumu stomped aggressively toward Palmer. Hey, Kano snapped. Easy now. They couldn't risk a scuffle, sending the virus crashing to the ground. What a shame. Palmer swung his right arm up high. Oh no. All of them. What? Oh no. I was gonna say he had people in the crowd too, but everyone watched in dismay as his hand shot up. The vials he'd been holding sailed upward against the backdrop of the evening sky. Look out! Achi shouted. Catch him! Catch him! Ayakamiki? Not the time, man! Are you kidding me? What? What? Huh? Bad end because I should have jumped to Achi because this is inevitable or something? A tremendous blast blew Kano off his feet. Perhaps they weren't the virus then. Perhaps they were like nitroglycerin or something. As he crashed to the pavement, searing pain shot through his entire body. He knew at once that a bomb had gone off. But why? It didn't make any sense. Alphard had no intention of carrying out a suicidal terror attack. Kano was certain of that. If that had been his intent, he could have just done so at any time, without going through the trouble of putting on this whole charade. Was there some reason that this guy would blow himself up under these circumstances at this specific moment? As he lay dying, are we doing a bad end? Kano had a thought. Could it be? Had Stanley not come to the scramble because he knew this was going to happen? I thought I got the achievement for getting all the 1 bad endings, though! Are we for real right now? Or is this just like an epilogue chapter that I missed something? That's a bad end! Meowington, you got me! I was a fool the whole time. A mysterious explosion, and I can't even highlight a hint. I can't even do a hint for this. It's just... that's all I get. Wow! But now we can jump to Stanley. Goodness gracious. But foist. Let's Achi it up. Damn. Yeah, right, Fakafan? I have been bamboozled. Boom! We're going through. Wow. Was this guy Alphard? The man arrived in front of Hitomi and began speaking to her. Hitomi, Maria, even Achi's father, this must be the guy who was responsible for everything. Achi felt a pressing urge to flatten him right then and there. Still, he knew he couldn't blow his cover until Kano gave the signal. Suppressing his raw emotions, he readied himself for action. He hurt me, and I'll hurt him back. That bill is gonna come due. Protecting Hitomi has to come first. I can't let anything happen to her. I have to set aside my hatred. Right now, I need to just focus on catching the guy. Kick his ass, protect Hitomi, catch the guy. Chat, what is this gonna be? Yeah, Meowington, Stanley is likely the choice we really need to be doing, but I want to see this stuff. Oh, yeah, Meowington, who said this or that about when Stanley found a photo in the storage room? I believe that was Fakafon at the time, so we might be going back to him anyway. So chat, which option are we going with? A, B, or C? We have one vote for C. Do we have any others? One for A. I can't believe we're still doing that at bad endings, though, but I'm happy we're doing it at this point. We now have 2 for A and 3 for C. Anything else? 1 for B, 3 for A. So now we have a tie. Any more? Because if not, then I'll jump in myself. Okay, I don't see any more votes, so let's go. A is a bad choice. It has to be, so I'm going for it. Why hasn't it happened yet? Why hasn't Kano given the signal? Oh, is it a non-choice? Oh, it didn't matter. Alright. Freeze! Suddenly, Kano rushed forward, his gun drawn. Ignoring the pain in his leg, Achi dashed for Hitomi as fast as he could. Oh, there it goes. Okay. He cut in between Kano and Alphard, quickly pulling Hitomi out of danger. Hitomi, Kano shouted. Call Kanan again. Shielded by Achi now, she brought up her cell phone and dialed the number. Interesting. But some time passed and there was no answer. Had there been some kind of trouble on Kanan's end? Looking increasingly worried, Hitomi tried calling several more times. Then Alphard withdrew some strange vials from the attaché case he'd brought. Kano's face wavered with alarm. This had to be the terrorist's trump card, then. Kano and Alphard were having some sort of debate. Achi couldn't hear the specifics, but tensions were clearly running high. Kano? So was this actually the right decision? Hesitantly lowered his gun. Alphard flashed a haughty, confident grin. Looks like it's time for our trump card. Suzumu! Achi shouted at the top of his lungs. At his signal, the gang emerged from the crowd. What? What? That's written weird. The gang emerged from the crowd, moved en masse? Maybe the gang that emerged from the crowd moved en masse to hem Alphard in. Surrounded? Now the terrorist was visibly at a loss. You certainly don't look like police. You're right about that, Achi said. I mean, just take a look. I gathered up a bunch of people who love Shibuya more than their own lives in order to take your ass down. As he spoke, he made sure to keep Hitomi shielded behind him. The pain in his leg was getting worse and worse, but he tried his utmost not to let it show. There's no escape, he declared. You've... lost? Lost, yeah! Did it! Lost? Me? Well, it sure doesn't look like you're gonna get away. Alphard grimaced at Achi's words. I see. Then it appears that our negotiations are at a close. Oh, they're bad end. Why did he still seem so confident? Something definitely didn't feel right. This was just a bluff. He knows he can't get away. He really doesn't care if he survives. Chat, what am I gonna do if it even matters? It's just a bluff, or uh-oh. This might change something, who knows? What's it gonna be? I wonder if this is going to involve rushing him. Apparently, whatever we chose was the right decision because we can jump straight to Kano, so I don't even know. Oh yeah, Meowington, regarding the ringtone of Ayakamiki, Hitomi has the ringtone, that's a good point. So yeah, what's this going to be, chat? How are we gonna settle this? I guess. We have one vote for B, one vote for A. Yeah, fuck up on A. It's obviously a bluff. 2 for B, 2 for A. Do we have any more? 3 for B, but also 3 for A. What's it going to be? We have 3 and 3. Dragon Ace, the ringtone triggered the bomb. It may very well have. The vials might be nothing. But I don't see any other options coming in, so I'll choose the bluff option just to see what happens. His only chance would be to try to spread the virus around and then take off while everyone was distracted, which meant they needed to just grab the guy and be done with it. Enough of the high and mighty act, Sumu shouted. Evidently he shared Achi's opinion. He began to stomp toward Alphard, but he didn't reach him in time. Oh no! And freeze it soon! Boom. Tokimo's away! The vials in Alphard's hand went sailing high into the air. Look out! Catch him! Catch him! Achi gestured for his comrades to fan out across the open space. Oh, I didn't hear a ringtone this time, though. Out of nowhere, a huge explosion blew Achi clean off his feet. His eardrums ruptured, Jesus Christ, and his world was engulfed in an eerie silence, as if time had stopped. Wow. As he lay crumpled on the pavement, the one thing that still rang in his ears was the tinkling of glass as countless vials smashed on the concrete. That's a bad ending. Does it count as a different one? It's called the same thing, but was it a different number? I hope so. Clearly the wrong decision. That's Kano, but who are we? Yeah, there were 2 Achis, right? This is the other Achi. What the hell is this? If it takes us to where we just were, then we'll just do. Oh, good point, Meowington. We heard the explosion near Kano. Oh, it's just directly the bad end. This isn't going to help. All right. Let's go to Stanley. Because going to Kano isn't really going to make a difference either, so let's Stanley it up. Oh, wait, no. Oh, no, we're right. We used the bad ending to go to Stanley. That's original. Can I? Yeah, we're good. This is going to go way back. That's insane, dude. Hey there, Galleon. So we're in that storage room. Kano's plan of action for the scramble was steadily coming together. Stanley half listened as the young detective discussed a stakeout with the rest of the group. So we're way back now. This never happened yet. Or, like, where we are with Achi and everything never happened yet. His own mind was still caught up with the question of what he himself should do. He couldn't shake the conviction that he needed to head to the lab. Even assuming that Alphard really did turn up at the scramble, and assuming that he carried out another bioterror attack there, the worst that could happen would be a disaster in Shibuya. Terrible though that might be, it would be far worse to let Alphard, who was already in possession of the UA virus, destroy the world's only supply of the antiviral. Oh, Meowington, it was the same number? Oh, that's too bad. But thanks for letting me know, Winterburn and Meowington. If he succeeded at that scheme, his bioweapon would be unstoppable. He could hold the entire planet in the grip of fear. Hello there, the only Midnight Shadow. A terrorist arms dealer must never be allowed to obtain that kind of power. Stanley couldn't take that risk. Even if he was wrong in his suspicions, it only made sense to shore up the defense of the lab. There was only one person he could count on now, Kanan. She was on the way to the lab already. If Stanley could alert her to his conclusions, it would make it that much harder for Alphard to carry out his plan. If nothing else, hopefully she could buy time for Stanley to get there. Stanley approached Kano. You need to go to the scramble without me, he said. What? Kano was visibly shocked. Where's this coming from all of a sudden? Please don't ask me to explain. Something else has come up and I have to see to it. Stanley hated having to do this. He wished he could explain everything. If he made any unusual moves now, though, there was a risk Alphard would pick up on it. There was no telling where the mastermind might be watching. It was better to keep his companions in the dark, just in case. I understand, Kano said. Do what you have to and come back soon. I'm sorry. I wish I could tell you more. It's alright. I'll find a way to get by. Kano gave him the thumbs up. The sight brought back some painful memories. Up until just a few hours ago, Stanley had instinctively seen Kano as all too naive, and now he finally knew why. Kano was just like his younger brother, Frank. Oh no, we're going back? Hey! They might have looked very different, but in the way they mixed up their responsibilities with their personal feelings, they were totally alike. Stanley couldn't discount that naivete. In the end, that was all a part of the human condition. Jack, are you really okay with this? Frank cast an anxious look at his older brother as they made their way onto the University of Chicago campus. It's my responsibility to look after you, Stanley told him. As long as you take your studying seriously, I'm all for it. Frank had been worrying about tuition costs as he prepared for college. After losing their parents 5 years earlier, the two had struggled to get by. Yeah, but... Stanley set both hands on his brother's shoulders. Listen to me, Frank. You're my brother, and I care about you. I just want whatever you do to be something you can be proud of. Alright, Jack, I hear you. And thanks. Kano, promise me one thing. What's that? Once this is all over, you'll go have a beer with me. Sure, alright. That's a promise now, remember. Kano flashed him a grateful smile. And in that smile, Stanley again saw a little something of Frank. Hurrying out of Endo Electronics, Stanley dialed up Tateno as he ran along. Hey, finally! It's Stanley. What's going on? What I'm about to tell you is mere conjecture on my part, but for now, let's assume I'm mostly on the right track. He took a deep breath and steeled his nerves. I think Alphard is heading to the lab. He's planning on hitting it to destroy the antiviral. Are you serious? Tateno's voice was laced with apprehension. Yes. You need to turn back right away. I'll go to the lab with Kanan. The detective's only reply was silence. Did you hear me, Tateno? This is an opponent who's out of your league. Turn back. I'll handle... I can't do that. Now Tateno's tone was calm and steady. My job is to get Maria to the lab as soon as humanly possible. Whether Alphard is coming or not doesn't change that. Don't be absurd. Even if you do have Kanan with you, you can't keep Maria safe and still win the fight that's coming. I'll give my own life to protect that girl if it comes down to it. Stanley could tell that he'd never overcome this degree of stubbornness. Fine. Have it your way then. But I'm heading to the lab too. Whatever you do, do not let your guard down. Understood. Tateno would be no match for Alphard. If the terrorist spotted the detective, he'd probably kill him on the spot. Reassurance or encouragement would be meaningless. Instead, Stanley left Tateno with one final warning. If it comes down to it, just shoot him. If you hesitate for a moment, he'll have you dead. Find somewhere to stall until I get there. If he realizes we're onto him, you're done for. Just keep Maria safe. That's your job. So, chat, what's this gonna be? And Meowington, as for skipping the photo, I don't know. It didn't come up, unless it was like an earlier decision that I just let go. I could go back and check at some point. While waiting for the choice, I think I might as well even do that, just to see what Stanley's choice was. In the storage room, but go ahead and make your decisions, chat, while I'm scouring this. He was going to release her. Yeah, we can do the photo thing. And it stops me, so I don't know if it's the right decision. I guess we'll find out. I'll go back to A if I have to, though. But here's a clue. So I have 2 votes for C, 2 for B, and 1 for A. But anyway, we're taking a look at this picture while we're waiting, so I'll see if this makes any kind of difference. I don't know. So what the hell is up with this picture? Oh my god, I have no idea. But then I don't know. No, it's a keep out. I think that's the wrong choice. Unless... I'll double check this. Kano, right? No, this changes everything. No, I need to go back. It was the other choice. So, sorry about that, everybody. So, I guess it wasn't anything. I guess it was like when we could have had Tama just take off her mask. It just didn't matter. So yeah, I guess it's no good. So we have let me see these choices again. 2 for C, 2 for B, and 1 for A. Do we have any more choices here for what to say to Tateno? Because we're tied with C and A. Does anybody else want to weigh in on this one? Because if not, then I'm just gonna jump and choose something myself. I'm not saying anything, so C it is. Keep Maria safe. Tateno hung up without saying anything. Stanley made it to his car, still parked on the roadside. Jumping in, he sped off toward the laboratory. Traffic had gotten pretty congested by the time he made it onto the main road. The chaos and panic from the area around Shibuya Station was starting to spread. His frustration steadily growing, Stanley fought his way along the congested streets. Just as his aggravation was beginning to boil over, he finally arrived at the Okoshi Pharmaceutical Laboratory. He could tell immediately that something was wrong. Oh no! Oh no! A plume of smoke was rising from one of the laboratory windows. It was thick and black, clearly the result of a fire of some sort. Wow. Stanley hopped out of the car, drawing his gun as he approached the door. He was about to make his way inside when a scent in the air stopped him in his tracks. The smoke carried the telltale odor of explosive residue. He hadn't made it on time. All his fears had come to pass. Maria, Osawa, Tateno, Kanan. They were all surely dead. And no doubt the antiviral had all been either stolen or incinerated. In all likelihood, moreover, viral samples from the lab had been dispersed by the explosion. Stanley cursed. He'd already inhaled some of the smoke. This really was the worst-case scenario. They'd been utterly defeated. Stanley called up Gordon to request backup for a sweep of the laboratory. So there's gotta be something we could do with Tateno. He knew that it was already too late to change anything. Even so, Stanley would go through all the motions before he admitted defeat. It's still letting us play, though, so I don't know. Nope. Okay, bad end. Oof. Hello there, IMLRG. Complete failure. Jesus. Complete failure. Unreal. Hey, I got an idea. Let's jump to Tateno. Boom. We're in. Once they'd made it past Shibuya Station, the roads were relatively clear. They ought to make it to the lab in no time. And then we get that phone call. Tateno's phone rang. It was Stanley. "What's going on?" he asked the American. "What I'm about to tell you is mere conjecture on my part, but for now let's assume I'm mostly on the right track." Stanley's voice was filled with tension. Tateno braced himself for bad news. "I think Alphard is heading to the lab. He's planning on hitting it to destroy the antiviral." "Are you serious?" It was even worse than he had feared. Alphard, heading to the lab? "Yes. You need to turn back right away." "I'll go to the lab with Kanan." "Is something wrong?" Kanan asked, peering at him from the back seat. He couldn't hide the fact that he was trembling. She seemed perfectly calm, unfazed by the possibility of further complications. Perhaps she had already anticipated something like this happening. "Did you hear me, Tateno?" Stanley said. "This is an opponent who's out of your league. Turn back. I'll handle the..." I can't do that, Tateno replied, managing to regain his composure. My job is to get Maria to the lab as soon as humanly possible. Whether Alphard is coming or not doesn't change that. Don't be absurd. Even if you do have Kanan with you, you can't keep Maria safe and still win the fight that's coming. Maybe Stanley was right. Almost certainly he was, but Tateno couldn't put Maria's life in danger by turning back in order to save his own. Kanan. Tateno glanced at the young woman in the back seat. Yes? If Alphard shows up, don't worry about protecting May. Just keep Maria safe. You got it. That was all Tateno needed to hear. I'll give my own life to protect that girl if it comes down to it, he told Stanley. Fine, have it your way then. But I'm heading to the lab too. Whatever you do, do not let your guard down. Understood. Tateno hung up. Should I do that with Jack then? That was Stanley, Kanan asked. She'd probably already surmised the situation. Even so, she showed no signs of concern. Oh boy, here it comes! At last, the minivan arrived at Okoshi Pharmaceutical. So what we do here determines what happens with Jack, I guess. Tateno pulled up at the front gate and got out of the vehicle. Off to one side of the entrance was an intercom for contacting the security room. I'm assuming you've already heard the details from the director, Tateno barked at the intercom. Open up. We haven't heard anything from Director Osawa, the security guard spat back. And moreover, the laboratory is currently on lockdown. I'm sorry, but not even Director Osawa is allowed inside. That's ridiculous. Tateno scowled at the intercom in frustration. Then, a car came racing toward him along the street. Oh yeah? The sound of screeching brakes filled the air as the vehicle skidded to a halt, and then Kenji Osawa jumped out from the driver's seat. Yeah? Maria! Osawa rushed over to Tateno, then to Maria where she lay in the minivan. He looked carefully at his daughter's face. Oh, thank goodness. She still hasn't gone symptomatic. Mr. Osawa, why aren't people being allowed in the laboratory? Osawa tilted his head. They're not? Tateno explained what the guard had said. That's ridiculous! Osawa immediately called the security guard on the intercom. He got the same story. You've got to be kidding me, Osawa raged. I'm the lab director here! But the security guard wasn't hearing it. I'm sorry, sir. These orders came from Mr. Makino. Yeah, I've been wondering if Mr. Makino was Alphard, because that one bad end where we showed up with Minorukawa, there were armed guards just waiting for us. No. So am I just supposed to sit out here and watch my daughter die? Tateno racked his brain for other ideas. Maybe they'd have to climb the gate and break their way in? Then over the intercom they heard the sound of a phone ringing in the security room. The security guard answered it without muting the intercom speaker. His voice was faintly audible. He sounded rather deferential. Who in the world could he be talking to? Before Tateno could muse further, the gate suddenly opened. With video? Huh? Why? Tateno and Osawa looked at one another in surprise. I have a message for Director Osawa from Mr. Makino, the security guard said. From Makino? Osawa huddled over the intercom and had a brief sotovos, I think I did that right, exchange with the guard. What was that all about? Tateno asked. It, would seem that my wife was able to pull some strings for us. Oh, so much for that theory, then. Osawa smiled uncomfortably. Tateno didn't have time to wonder what that might mean. Has that lock been open for us as well, he asked. The smile disappeared from Osawa's face. Hey there, Justin. Yeah, this is live action VN, yep. No, she wasn't able to do anything about the final layer of security. I see. Well, let's regroup inside for now. Very well, Osawa said. By the way, who's going to be hacking the password? I am, Kanan replied. Ah, so you're Kanan. We should get you to the laboratory then. After checking to make sure there was nobody suspicious lurking nearby, Tateno headed into the laboratory with the others. It took about 20 seconds for the elevator to reach the first basement level. The biohazard storage area was evidently fairly deep underground. The doors opened to reveal a long, straight corridor. There was a door at the far end with a device at one side for checking IDs. Kanan approached the device, setting the laptop she'd borrowed from the security room on the floor in front of it. She affixed a scrap of paper with Kenji Osawa's password written on it to one side of the monitor. Then she connected a series of cables to both the laptop and the device. Tateno tried to contain his sense of urgency, focusing on keeping watch over Kanan as she worked. Kanan began to slowly tap away at the keyboard. Her screen displayed a series of numeric values that changed with each keystroke. She checked the changes carefully, timing the movements of her fingers according to some formula. The ID device let out a warning sound, and the display lit up. Incorrect password. The input had been rejected. Was this really going to work? Tateno felt his impatience growing. Osawa's face showed a similar unease. Kanan turned to look at them. How many failed attempts are we allowed? 2, I believe, Osawa answered. Oof. After a third failed attempt, the storage area is locked down and can't be reopened without input from the full board of directors. Oh no. Kanan had already resumed typing before he finished speaking. There's a very slight difference in power consumption for the device when it processes a correct password compared to an incorrect one. There's a minuscule difference in the time it takes to run the process as well. If I can analyze those and compare them... Kanan's voice trailed off. She continued working. There was another warning sound. A second failed attempt. A single bead of sweat ran down Tateno's forehead. But Kanan didn't so much as bat an eyelash. Ah, I see. Her face remained full of confidence. It won't be a problem, she assured them. This isn't my first time with this type of mechanism. Slowly, one at a time, Kanan pressed key after key while keeping her eyes fixed on the laptop screen. With each keystroke, a waveform at the top of the screen, looking almost like an echocardiogram readout, wobbled slightly. The laptop let out a tiny sound. A sequence of 10 characters appeared on the screen and Kanan read them off. Tateno jotted them down in his notebook, then stepped up to the scanner to enter the twin passwords for Osawa and Tanaka. In English? What? The whole sign was in English? The door opened. Kanan let out a sigh of relief. Osawa gathered up Maria and headed into the storage area. Tateno felt a surge of relief as he watched the two of them go. Kanan, meanwhile, was fastidiously putting away her equipment. What do you think? Tateno asked her. About what? She asked, her gaze as serious as ever. About Alphard. Why hasn't he shown up? If what Stanley had said was true, Alphard ought to be coming their way. It was both strange and unsettling that they'd been able to get inside without any interference. This isn't over yet, Tateno continued. Don't let your guard down until we know Alphard has been dealt with. Right. Kanan pulled out a pistol. You keep those two safe, she said. So after all this, she has a gun. She's just been choosing to fight with a knife. I'll go check things out front. She got back into the elevator and headed up. Okay. Well. Left alone in the hallway, Tateno was enveloped by an eerie silence. He drew his gun from its holster, then went into the storage area to join Osawa and his daughter. His cane and the soles of his shoes echoed on the hard surfaces all around. Oh, there you go. There's an English sign and a Japanese sign. At the end of the hallway, Tateno came to another door. He took a position there, determined to guard the two individuals inside. This was the only way in. If anyone was coming, they'd have to pass through here. Putting his back to the door, he let out a sigh. A great weight of exhaustion settled over him. Too much had happened over the past few hours. He'd recalled too many painful memories that had long been buried deep within his mind. And he'd realized that his whole life was rife with things he could never undo. If you're coming, then come on. Tateno aimed his gun down the empty corridor. Right now, he just needed to protect Maria. That had become his life's sole purpose. Probably a keep out, right? Because, I mean, where are we going to go from here? We probably need to jump back to someone else. What? Okay! Suddenly the door that was in front of him was blown off its hinges with a tremendous explosion. The shockwave traveling down the corridor struck him an instant later. Tateno had neither the time to wonder what had happened, nor any chance to avert his fate. Okay. That's it. Suddenly, an unforeseen situation. You're not kidding. Wow, this is where the game's actually getting hard then. We gotta do all sorts of jumps. I don't know, man. Tateno didn't have any jumps. How about over here? What was this? Oh, this was Jack jumping to Tateno in the first place. Achi can jump to Kano, but I don't think that makes much of a difference, though. Meowington go back to the picture after all? Are you sure? Because there's so much coming off of this. I mean, I'll try, I guess, but, like, that's gonna undo a lot. I'll see what happens. I'll do it. There, we saved. We did the picture. Got the picture. Now what? Tateno's trapped here, but then again, I can potentially go somewhere different, so I don't freaking know. I don't know, Meowington, maybe you got me. You might have gotten me. Arakawa's over. Yeah, maybe you're right, Meowington. Maybe this whole thing was a series of wrong ends. Maybe you're right. Okay. Alright. Okay, let's go with Tateno then, I guess. Kajiwara saves the day, I suppose. We're probably going to get a few keep outs and jump around. We'll see what happens. I can't skip this. So we're going to have to just read about Kajiwara doing his thing. Kajiwara. When would Endo have the phone fixed? Good question, Cool Arcana. So Kajiwara's helping us out. I'm sorry, Kajiwara. And thank you. And we move on. Okay, back to the keep out. Okay, so it looks like we might just be handling this differently, so that's fine. So, Meowington, go to the bad ending and skip to Stanley again. Okay. Actually, I can't. I'll have to jump to Achi first, but that's fine. I might just have to run through everybody's bad ends first, though. Oh, that didn't matter? Alright. Whatever, I'll just keep reading with Achi anyway, it's fine. If I get a bet now let's just... This is gonna be the bad end anyway, so let's just go to Kano. It's fine. Yeah, after making the bad decision, maybe jump to Stanley after the photo, or after the bomb explosion. I'll try it. I'll try it. So, okay, we'll see what happens. If this works, that'd be pretty interesting. And yes, Meowington Kajiwara is a freaking hero. What a guy. Just to make sure... Oh no, I can jump to this. Okay, good. I can skip a little bit of dialogue. What a shame. Oh no! There's a problem. That wasn't supposed to happen. Oh my god, we're all gonna die. Vials are everywhere. Ah. We're trying to intercept the vials. It's not happening. I can't skip this. Oh no, we have a different... No, this is different. Excuse me. Catch him, catch him! The hurtling vials scattered and began to fall. It seemed impossible that Kano's team would be able to keep them all from shattering against the ground. The SOS members fanned out, positioning themselves as best as they could to intercept the falling vials. Kano likewise prepared to catch one that was heading straight toward him. As he did, he caught sight of Palmer speeding away. Kano made up his mind on the spot. There was only one right call here, and he needed to make it. He had to protect the lives of the people nearby. He had to chase after Palmer. Okay. This is different. So chat, what are we doing here? A, protect people. B, chase after Palmer. We have one vote for A. So how on earth is this going to work? Two for A. I don't know, man. Well, we're certainly going in a completely different direction. So I got a good call, Meowington. You're too quick for me. You're fooling me, or you're one-upping me left and right here. Everyone's going for A, so let's go. As much as he wanted to apprehend his criminal, he couldn't sacrifice innocent people to do it. Kyle caught one of the vials deftly in both hands. Well, like he dove for it? Yup. Carefully, he examined it for damage. Seeing that the vial didn't appear broken, he let out a sigh of relief. Then he looked around for Palmer, but there was no sign of him. Damn it! The mastermind had gotten away. Vanished without a trace. But where's Al Carawan, though? I want to see that guy again. Amidst the frenetic crowd of the scramble, a lone criminal could blend in an instant, becoming just another pedestrian. Trying to find him now would probably be a hopeless endeavor. Oh, that was a bad end? We just can't find the guy? Whoa! Chat, you're too noble for me. We should have gone for Layla the whole time. Damn, this game is really throwing the bad ends at me. Unreal. Guess what? We're chasing after Palmer instead. I hope someone else catches that one vial. It's fine. It didn't matter if he didn't grab the vial. Something about the way this was playing out made kind of sure of it. Calling upon all his rugby training, he broke into a sprint. Hey there, Benjamin. Deftly dodging through the crowd, Kano kept Palmer in sight. He would catch him. One way or another, he was going to bring this bastard down. He's going to getcha. Steadily, he gained on his quarry. Oh, no kidding! At last, he drew within striking range and immediately dived into an expert tackle. He caught Palmer around the waist. Their bodies collided with violent force. Oof! Palmer went down flailing and hit the pavement hard. Even then, he tried to resist, but Kano straddled him and held him down. Tell me the password, Kano snarled. The kidnapper sneered triumphantly. You made the wrong choice. Wrong choice? The UA is out now. Now nobody can be saved. You've just killed everyone in the city. No, Kano shot back, nobody's going to die. And what makes you so sure of that? The way you fled the scene just now, if the virus had really been in those vials, you could never have hoped to escape infection. Running off on foot would be pointless. Palmer said nothing. Which means there was no virus in those vials. They were just a decoy in order to buy you time to escape. Hey there, Jin. Now Palmer gritted his teeth and glared up at Kano. The look on his face confirmed the detective's hunch. But more importantly, it was your eyes. You didn't have the eyes of a man who was putting his life on the line. My eyes? Who do you think you are, Sherlock Holmes? I know full well the look in a man's eyes when he's willing to die. He would. In the back of his mind, Connor replayed the moment when Tateno, doused in gasoline... I actually had to wait for that. Had marched into that financial office to talk down a would-be arsonist. Hey there, Chris. Now then, the password. Give it to me. Now! Kano tightened his grip on Palmer's collar, but the man just gazed back at him with an icy stare. Let me have Hitomi Osawa's blood. That was our original deal. Kano wasn't surprised. He'd known it wouldn't be easy to get him to talk. Maybe it really would be impossible to strike a deal without Kanan. But if getting her on the phone wasn't an option, Kano had to figure out something else. Sweat beaded on his brow as he cast about for ideas. Then he happened to catch sight of a car that had been overturned by an accident nearby. Gasoline had spilled from the vehicle, creating a broad, dark puddle on the pavement. Kano took out his handcuffs and cuffed Palmer's arm to his own. Come with me. Oh, really? Jerking his captive back to his feet, Kano led him over to the car. Oh, jeez. Then, without hesitation, he sat down in the pool of gasoline. Yanking on the handcuffs, he pulled Palmer down beside him. Oh my god! Kano pulled a lighter from his pocket. Palmer snorted. And just what's this supposed to be, Tell me the password. Or else what? You'll light the gas? You'll be burned to a crisp yourself. Yeah, probably. Kano heard the casual desperation in his own voice. What the hell are you thinking? The smile vanished from Palmer's face. Man, there was a different game I played that I won't spoil on the chance that it'll... Like, I won't name the game on the chance that it'll spoil it, but there was another situation where, like, a foreign American person was like, "You can't be serious, you'll take us both down!" What are you doing? Are you nuts? That acting was amazing. Kano scowled down him. What? Down at him, I guess? I just want to know the password. I'm getting revenge for my partner. Even if I die, my friends will avenge me. Ladies and gentlemen, get what we want, revenge, avenge. Interesting. Kano's going all in, man. You might say he got fired up. You might say he's got burning passion. I'll think of more crap. It's fine. Any options for this, ladies and gentlemen? Yeah, good call, Winterburn. Goodness gracious. Great balls of fire. C, full anime? 1 for C, 1 for A. 2 for C. 3 for C. 4. Everyone's going for C. Honestly, I would have gone for A myself. Even if I die, my friends will avenge me. Kano met Palmer stared dead on. Palmer and Kano locked eyes, both refusing to back down. The scent of gasoline fumes filled the air around them. Kano knew that the slightest spark could set off a massive fireball. Oh, jeez. Calmly, he flicked the lighter on. You can't be serious. Palmer's eyes fixed on the tiny flicker of flame. The password. You value your life so little? The password. In his mind, Kano could see the pages of the Dick Diary clear as day. Dick Dictum number 1. Never lose sight of what you're supposed to protect. Ever. Palmer glared in defiance. Kano brought the lighter closer and closer to the gasoline. He could practically feel his own life growing shorter as his hand descended, and yet he felt no trace of fear. Oh, good call, Full Arcana. Firewalk with me, Leyland. That's a good connection. His body was numb, his senses strangely distant. Time seemed to slow. The world around him dissolved into a blur. He was surprised at how calm, how remote he felt, here in the midst of this life-or-death confrontation. And then, far in the depths of Palmer's eyes, he saw the barest hint of doubt. He fixed his gaze on that point of weakness and did not look away. Palmer's shoulders slumped perceptibly. Now Kano was certain of it. This was a man who'd never put his life on the line before. Shizuo's words sounded in the back of his mind. You need a cool mind, but a fiery spirit. A detective without both of those is worth nothing. Let me go. Promise to let me go, and I'll tell you. Is that your answer? I don't think you quite understand the situation here. Kano brought the flame still closer to the gasoline. Palmer's eyes went wide. No longer was he able to hide his trembling uncertainty. All right, I'll tell you. Just put the thing out. The password first. His voice a strangled snarl. Palmer gave him the password. Kano extinguished the lighter. Whew. Damn. Pulling out his cell phone, Kano dialed up Osawa. As he did, he recalled his last exchange with Stanley. Hey, Meowington! At the electronics shop. Looks like we'll be able to have that beer together after all. But Osawa didn't answer. Kano guessed immediately that something was amiss. Detective! Achi's voice was full of worry. I've got Stanley on the line. He says that Detective Tateno... What? What? Oh no. Oh no, we're back! Oh no! Hey there, Wolfpack leader. Okay, well this was probably inevitable, right? That's fine. We worked our way back up to that point where we're going to do the Stanley. Didn't get to hear the rest of Achi's words. Thunderous blast. Where had the explosion come from? His lighter certainly hadn't set the gasoline ablaze. Kano hadn't been that clumsy. So what had happened? Only one possible answer came to mind. Palmer had blown himself up. What? But that only confused Kano further. His captive had already given up the password. What would prompt him to set off a bomb at this juncture? As he was losing consciousness, Kano continues to rack his brain. But he found no answers. Doom, 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 doom. No, wait a minute. I did have my suspicion. Kano's bad end is a 67, and Achi's bad end is 72. They both say mysterious explosion, but they register as two different bad ends. Hey, it was worth it. Alright, let's go to Stanley. Let's rewind time here. Stanley! Boom! We're doing it! Turning his attention back to the handbag, Stanley searched it more thoroughly and found the photograph tucked inside that he'd overlooked in his first inspection. Here it comes! What the hell? He stared at the picture, swallowing the lump in his throat. It was a photo of Maria, standing next to another young girl. There was something written in marker on the back. Me and Kanan, 7:30. That is to say, July 30th. Stanley hurriedly flipped the photo back over and looked at it again. What does this mean? The girl in the photo with Maria looked nothing like the Kanan. You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me. Was Meowington right, like, weeks ago about there being a second Kanan? Holy crap, I really didn't think that was the case, but Meowington might have been right this entire time. This is absurd. Okay, the girl in the photo with Maria looked nothing like the Kanan who had been there at Endo Electronics, who had left with Maria and Tateno just a few minutes ago. It is true, we've never seen Maria interact with Kanan in the present. But if the girl they were working with wasn't Kanan, then who was she? Oh, wow, so Dracologist, like, accidentally knew the twist from the beginning. Because Dracologist had said a long time ago, but the anime adaptation has Kanan with, like, whitish silver hair. It's, like, a completely different thing, and I thought it was artistic license, but nope! Okay! No. No, no. Stanley felt his blood run cold. Yeah, we never have seen Kanan in flashbacks. It was just first person from her perspective. Unreal. Could she be? Was she Alphard? The more he thought about it, the more it all added up. Assuming Alphard were masquerading as Kanan, the whole sequence of events suddenly began to make sense. She was strikingly audacious and fiendishly clever. But she hadn't outmaneuvered them just yet. A Dragon Ace, not exactly an anime adaptation, I think it was like a prequel or something like that. As luck would have it, they still had a chance to stop her. And at long last, Stanley could see the outline of Alphard's plan. Her goal was to get the antiviral. But extracting the DDS from Hitomi's blood wasn't enough. Okushi Pharmaceuticals still had the drug at their laboratory. The antiviral's value came specifically from having a monopoly on it, which meant that, in addition to obtaining the drug herself, Alphard also needed to destroy Okushi's research facilities. That was the crux of her plan. The problem was finding a way to infiltrate those facilities. In all likelihood, Alphard's scheme went something like this. Have Maria Osawa kidnapped. Then infected with the UA virus. After that, eliminate Tanaka. Once Osawa learned that Maria had been infected with the virus, he was certain to use the antiviral on her. But he needed his partner Tanaka in order to access the storage facility, and Tanaka was dead. That was why Alphard had been masquerading as Kanan. Kanan was Maria's friend and an expert at hacking passwords. If she could secure Osawa's trust, he would let her into the research facility in order to carry out the hack. That's why Alphard, in the guise of Kanan, had saved Hitomi's life repeatedly. Unreal. Getting Hitomi to trust her would likewise earn the trust of her father. There were still some finer details that remained a mystery. I gotta say, I'm happy it wasn't Leland's, because we've seen him for 2 seconds. It would be a little lame to have him be the big reveal, because it's like, oh, okay. For instance, how was Alphard going to destroy the lab? Still, Stanley could look into that once he had her in custody. He needed to move quickly and stop her from ever getting into the Okoshi facility. I fixed it. There it is. There it is. Full Arcana, where does Leyland fit into this? He's a pawn, I guess. He's one of her, lackeys. Daisuke approached Stanley and held out Maria's cell phone. Well, as best as I could, at any rate. It looks like it'll be get a signal, but whatever data was on it is all gone. I see. Stanley took the phone and put it in his pocket. He'd hoped he might be able to learn something useful from it, but luck evidently wasn't on his side. He was just going to have to go up against Alphard with what he already had. Now that he guessed what was really going on, Stanley went to talk to Kano. There it is. You need to go to the scramble without me. What? Oh my god, where's this coming from? Don't ask me to explain, something's come up. Catch a beer. Thumbs up, flashback. I can't skip this, can I? No. We've seen this before. Oh, wow. Now I can look up University of Chicago in blue. Alright. A private university in Chicago, Illinois, lauded as one of the foremost research institutions in the U.S. More than 90 alumni, have been awarded the Nobel Prize. Damn. The school has made a number of major contributions to the world beyond simple academics, including the construction of the world's first artificial nuclear reactor, Chicago Pile 1, and the Chicago School of Economics, a school of economic thought that stresses monetarism. Wow. Okay. It's my responsibility to look after you, Stanley told him. As long as you take your studying seriously, I'm all for it. Frank had been worrying about tuition costs. Oh, no, we were at... Yeah, no, sorry. I got distracted for, the blue. We've already gotten this. Have a beer with me? Yeah! Saw a little something of Frank. Okay, and now we're back to here. We talked to Tateno. Right, and now we can jump to Tateno if need be. It's fine. Oh, wait, no, this is different. Oh, because we know it's Kane as the bad guy. That's right. I'm gonna actually read this carefully then. Hurrying out of Endo Electronics, Stanley dialed up Tateno as he ran along. Listen carefully. Your life may depend on it, he said as soon as Tateno picked up. He knew that the detective wouldn't be able to respond openly since Alphard was right there with him. On the spur of the moment, Stanley devised a simple code for how he should answer yes or no. He told Tateno to respond with, "That's right," to mean yes, and "will do," to mean no. There was no time for anything more complex. Right now, Stanley just needed to stop Alphard from getting into the lab. He quickly explained his suspicions about Kanan. Tateno sounded distinctly unnerved. At any rate, Stanley said, you need to find a way to turn back without her realizing what's going on. Will do, Tateno replied. So, he was going to head to the laboratory despite Stanley's instructions. Saving Maria is your top priority, isn't it? That's right. The detective's affirmation was firm. Alright then. Guess I'll have to head that way myself. In the meantime, do not let her inside that lab. That's right. Wow. Tateno was no match for Alphard. If she figured out what was going on, she'd probably kill him on the spot. Reassurance or encouragement would be meaningless right now. Instead, Stanley left Tateno with one final warning. Well, the chat went with, yeah. Keep Maria safe. The area around Dogonzaka was in disarray. The government had declared a state of high alert, and the people on the street were milling around uneasily, unsure just what was going on. Modern-day Japan lacks both the infrastructure and the legal framework to properly deal with a large-scale bioterrorist threat. Coordination between the police, Japan's Self-Defense Force, JSDF, health centers, and so forth, so it should be among, not between, would be a monumental task. In all likelihood, if a bioweapon were ever unleashed there, the target site would fall into chaos. The main roads had been blocked off, and automobiles and motorcycles were at a standstill. Some vehicles had overturned on the curb in an apparent attempt to circumvent the blockade. Any moment now, Kano's team would be putting their plan into action at the scramble. Stanley wasn't sure who they might have gotten to help, so whom, but Kano was certain to put them to good use. Please, stay safe. Don't you dare die on me. Damn, this is getting so intense. Hey there, Michael. Stanley prayed silently as he darted underneath the railway overpass. He made it to his car, still parked on the roadside, and fortunately beyond the blocked-off area. Jumping in, he sped off toward the laboratory. As he drove along, Stanley again tried to deduce Alphard's plan of action. If Alphard herself was on the way to the lab now, then what was the objective of the fake who'd been sent to the scramble? A call came in from Tateno. Stanley here. He picked up quickly, but as he did, he wondered. Why was Tateno calling him? Alphard was right there. There was no way the detective should be risking a phone call. What's going on? Tateno said nothing. Stanley repeated the question. Still, Tateno did not reply, so we should have jumped to Tateno. Stanley's apprehension spread like a droplet of ink in water. Hey, has something happened? Hey, answer me. That's creepy by itself. The call cut out. Stanley hurriedly dials Tateno's number, but he couldn't get through. Something had gone badly wrong, he was sure of it. Had he been too arrogant in thinking that he might be a match for Alphard? His worries turned to the team of the Scramble. What if they had walked into a trap? Figuring that it would be too dangerous to call Kano in the midst of the negotiations, Stanley instead dialed up Achi. Mr. Stanley? What's going on? To Stanley's relief, it sounded like things down at the Scramble had gone well enough, so he asked Achi to put him on the phone with Kano. Yeah, give me a sec, the young man said. Detective. Stanley could hear Achi shouting on the other end. I got Stanley on the line. He said the detective Tateno... There was a sudden tremendous boom, and then the call cut out. Stanley's jaw dropped. He felt his mind emptied out by despair. He opened his mouth, but he couldn't even bring himself to scream. All he could do was curse inwardly, again and again. Stanley slammed his fist into the steering wheel as hard as he could. Then he did it again, and again, and again, and again, and again. He didn't stop even when his fists were marred with blood. That sucks. Jeez. Raging Stanley, bad end. Call cut short. Oof. Brutal. Well then. I get the feeling I should jump to Tateno. That is some bad end. This was... yeah, that's the Achi jump. Tateno. Let's make a different decision. This endgame is really something else. Alright, we're doing it. Once they made it past Shibuya Station, the roads were relatively clear. They ought to make it to the lab in no time. Phone rang. Stanley, what's going on? Listen carefully. Your life may depend on it. Ask some questions. If the answer is yes, say that's right. If it's no, reply with will do. For a moment, Tateno was bewildered. From the urgency in Stanley's voice, however, he realized that there was some kind of emergency. That's right, he said after a moment's thought. That ought to let Stanley know that he understood the code. Is Kanan with you right now? That's right. That Kanan is an imposter. Tateno gripped his phone more tightly, hoping it would stop the trembling in his hand. It's her, Stanley said. She's Alphard. The detective had to stifle a gasp of alarm. I don't have time to fill you in on the details, but I've got some pretty incontrovertible evidence. You need to turn back, now. Tateno struggled to come to terms with what he just heard. He glanced at Kanan through the rearview mirror. She was holding Maria tightly in her arms. Was this really all an act on her part? And if so, why? There was only one possible reason. If Kanan really was Alphard, then she had only one goal. She was pretending to help Maria in order to get into the lab, where she would be able to steal the antiviral. But wait. Hold on. Kanan was Maria's friend, wasn't she? Hitomi said as much herself. Kanan is my sister's friend. Maria certainly knew what her own friend looked like, and since it was obvious that Maria might be present, it didn't make sense for a clever imposter to pretend to be Kanan. Or did it? When Kanan showed up on the roof of South Hill, making her surprise attack on Tateno, Maria had taken off down the staircase without ever looking back, and when she turned up at the Endo Electronics workroom, Maria had already collapsed and fallen unconscious. Tateno felt a chill spreading through his body. As far as he knew, Maria had never actually seen the girl who was now sitting in the back seat. But then, what about Hitomi? Shouldn't she have known what Kanan looked like? Tateno tried to remember just what Hitomi had said. Kanan is my sister's friend. I just met her for the first time today. If they never met each other before today, then maybe Hitomi didn't know what the real Kanan looked like. That was the only explanation that made sense. Hey, Tateno, are you still with me? Stanley sounded like he was on the verge of panic. At any rate, you need to find a way to turn back without her realizing what's going on. Even if Kanan really was Alphard, Tateno had to keep heading toward that lab. He went over the coded responses in his head. Yes was that's right, no was will do. Will do, he said. Saving Maria is your top priority, isn't it? That's right, Tateno affirmed. Alright then, guess I'll have to head that way myself. In the meantime, do not let her inside that lab. That's right. Tateno hung up. What was that? Or who was that? Kanan asked. Tateno felt his heart skip a beat. That was Kuze, that cop from earlier. He tried to keep his voice as level as possible. He was worried about us and wanted to check up. Okay, Kanan muttered, sounding disinterested. Tateno could only hope she hadn't guessed the truth. It felt like the specter of death himself was breathing down his neck. God damn, this game's intense. At last, the minivan arrived at Okoshi Pharmaceutical. Oh yeah, good call, Meowington. Yeah, Alphard tracked Maria's necklace, that GPS. That was the point the whole time. Good call. So the minivan arrived. Tateno pulled up at the front gate and got out of the vehicle. Off to one side of the entrance was... Yeah, off to the one side of the entrance was an intercom for contacting the security room. I'm assuming you've already heard... Yeah, we've read this. Open up. No... No, it's locked down. That's ridiculous. But suddenly... Oh, fuck, I found Spectre of Death. Sounds like a cool stand. There is the Grateful Dead, and there's also Death 13. Osawa has to get in. You've got to be kidding me. I'm the lab director here. Nope, too bad. Am I gonna just sit here and watch my daughter die? What do we do? Climb the gate? But then, suddenly, the phone rang. Oh my god, video! Ah! What was that call about? My wife. After Osawa left home, I had a change of heart. Even if it meant losing everything, she decided she wanted to save Maria's life. Wow! Although Maria was not Ai's real daughter, it turned out that the time they spent living together had sowed the first seeds of a familial bond. Hey! She turned it around. Okay. Yay. I don't know what that means, but good for us. But oh no, there's the other lock. What do we do about the final layer of security? Who's gonna hack the password? I am. Osawa's gonna lead Kanan in, but Tateno's like, oh my god. If Kanan really was Alphard, Tateno couldn't let her into that lab. But without getting that lock open, there was no way of getting Maria the antiviral she needed to survive. Oh boy. What was the right call? Should he still pretend to be in the dark and let Kanan try to hack the password? He was gonna have to let her into the lab. They couldn't go anywhere until Stanley got there. Wow, chat. What are we gonna do with this one? A or B? We're gonna have to do the hacking thing and then find some excuse once it's done? Or no, just put ourselves at risk now and wait for Stanley to get here? Do we have any opinions on this matter, ladies and gentlemen? God damn, this game's endgame is unreal. So much fun, so much fun. So we have 1 for B, 1 for A, 2 for B, 2 for A, 3 for B, 3 for A. Oh, no, it was still 2 for A and 4 for B. You just follow her after she hacks it? Yeah, maybe A is the way to go, but we have majority for B, so I don't know. Yeah, provided she says, "I'm in," when she's done. B it is. Tateno knew exactly what he needed to do. What's the matter? Osawa turned and cast a look of confusion back at Tateno and Kanan, both of whom had stopped in their tracks. "We'll wait out here," Tateno said. But, I mean, isn't Kanan gonna hack the password? There's been a slight change of plans. Go ahead and wait for us at the lab, Director. Alright. But we don't have much time before Maria develops symptoms. I'll be inside. Please don't keep me waiting for too long. With Maria in his arms and a worried look on his face, Osawa hurried through the gate and disappeared from view. So now we're all alone with Kanan. We're probably dead. What do you think you're doing? Kanan asked, stiffening as Tateno nudged the barrel of his gun against her spine. You're Alphard, aren't you? I have no idea what you're talking about. It's no use trying to play dumb. Stanley found proof. Yup. Before he finished speaking, Kanan seemed to disappear from view. Jesus. She cartwheeled away at blinding speed, too quick for Tateno to keep a bead on her. By the time she'd righted herself, she'd already drawn a gun of her own. Abruptly, he found himself facing her in a stare-down, weapons aimed at one another. Then Kanan's phone rang, and she reached to answer it. Don't move, Tateno roared. Did you forget the plan? That might be Hitomi calling. I don't care. Don't you move. If Kanan really was Alphard, the whole plan might be a sham. Tateno kept the barrel of his gun squarely on its mark. Kanan let out a little sigh. Have you considered that Stanley might be lying to you? Yes, it's possible, but I need to make sure we avoid a worst-case scenario. If you don't let me into the lab, who's going to hack the password? We've got your little decoy. My friends will get the fake Alphard to cough up the password. That is true. Once her phone had stopped ringing, Kanan sighed again. So that's why they couldn't reach her. And what about Stanley, then? Is he on his way here? Who knows, Tateno said. At that, Kanan lowered her gun. She seemed disturbingly full of confidence. Kanan flipped open her cell phone. Who do you think you're calling? Tateno adjusted his aim, pointing his gun at the young woman's head. Look, I'm going to call Hitomi and have her clear up these suspicions you have about me. We don't have time for this right now. Wouldn't you agree? Kanan stared back at Tateno, cell phone in hand, waiting for his reply. It doesn't matter what Hitomi says. I trust my own judgment. Stop. This is the sort of nonsense we don't have time for right now. This might be a non-choice, but, what should we do for this one, chat? I'm trusting my own judgment, or we just don't have time for this. Any options? I am most curious. I really don't know how much this matters, but we shall see. Yeah, good call, Dragon Ace. Yeah, if Kanan makes a call now, that might be the bomb. So we gotta stop her. 1 for A. 2 for A. 1 for B. 3 for A. 4. Again, I don't know how much this actually matters, but we're overwhelmingly going for A. Your own judgment, huh? And is that always correct? Kanan began punching in numbers. She never took her eyes off Tateno as she waited for Hitomi to pick up. Great. She's not answering. Kanan hung up and tried calling again. It's me. It looked like she'd gotten through this time. Oh, she called someone else. That detective doesn't trust me. Apparently he thinks I'm Alphard, not Kanan. After a few moments, Kanan held the phone out to Tateno. Here. Hitomi says I'm definitely Kanan. Tateno didn't reach out for the phone. Instead, he advanced on Kanan with his gun still on its mark. This is a farce, Tateno spat. Hitomi's words don't mean a thing. You might be Kanan to her, but you aren't to me. I don't even know if there ever was a real person named Kanan in the first place. So maybe you're Kanan. And you're Alphard. Kanan shook her head, then put her phone away. If you're really Alphard, then you don't actually need to hack the password, Tateno said. I'm guessing you've already gotten it from Tanaka, which means you'll be able to get your hands on the antiviral as soon as you get into that lab. Kanan didn't so much as flinch. The only thing stopping you is the antiviral still in Hitomi Osawa's body. Possessing the antiviral and having a monopoly on it are two very different things. You want to eliminate Hitomi. That's why you lured her down to the scramble. Am I wrong? If that's true, then how am I planning on getting rid of her? Using the so-called substitute Alphard or something? Yes, that's right. Tateno couldn't be certain, but he couldn't think of any other way. Kanan let out a laugh. You don't know the first thing about Alphard, she said. Alphard keeps the outlines of his plans blurred so that his deliberate actions just get lumped in with the coincidences. That's the crux of all his plans. That's how he's able to pull off his schemes by himself. He'd never solicit help from a third party. The words seemed like they were Kanan's, but also seemed like they were Alphard's. Whatever the case, Tateno had to let Kano know that Hitomi was in danger. With his gun still at the ready, he got out his phone and called the detective. But the phone rang several times and nobody answered. Eventually he had no choice but to hang up. They must have been in the middle of a confrontation on the other end. For now, Tateno could only pray that Kano and the others would be able to handle whatever threat they were up against. Oh man, I am not letting you in there. Oh god, at that Kanan let out a faint chuckle. In that case, I'm going to have to eliminate you. Even without her gun raised, she still radiated intimidation. Tateno might have had her at gunpoint, but he could feel the threat of her presence like a gathering storm. Eliminate me, he said, doing his best to mask any sign of weakness. You're the one who doesn't have your gun ready. I don't need my gun, Kanan said simply. And why's that? Because you can't shoot me. What's that supposed to mean? Kanan glared sharply at Tateno. Her look pierced him like a blade. Then she quirked an unsettling smile and took a step closer to him. Don't move, he warned. Tateno said, try anything funny and I'll make sure you regret it. I don't want to pull this trigger if I don't have to. Chat, this one might actually matter. What should we do with this one? Any options? A, don't you do it. B, I don't want to have to shoot you. It might not matter, but I'm still curious as to what chat says. What is it going to be? If I don't see any votes soon, then I'll just go myself. 1 for A. 2, 3, 4. It's looking like A. It's 5-0 right now. 5-1, but yeah, 6-1. Try anything funny, and I'll make sure you regret it. He kept his gun trained on the center of her chest. You can't shoot me. Kanan took another step closer. You're still traumatized from that time you let your friend's wife die. How the hell do you know that? I gotta think about this. How would you know that? Did she get that from Endo? How could that be? So this choice probably didn't matter. How? How do you know about that? Tateno was shaking now, his aim wavering. I heard you talking with the younger detective up on that rooftop. Oh. That was right, she had been there. Let's test my theory out. Kanan pointed her index finger at her own heart. If you think I'm Alphard, then shoot me. Right here. Huh? Jesus. The corner of her mouth twisted up. You can't do it, can you? Tateno's gun hand shook all the more. You're afraid to pull the trigger. It was as if her words were a spell she had. What? This is wonky writing. Her words were a spell she was... It was as if her words were a spell that she was casting over him. You can hardly even stand the thought of pointing your gun at someone. Tateno shook his head violently back and forth, but he couldn't get Gain's words out of his head. Just keep Maria safe. That's your job. That's what Stanley had said, and he was right. Don't hesitate. Don't think. This was Alphard, a sadistic terrorist. He just needed to trust himself and pull the trigger. Pull it! Really? There was a horrid, visceral sound. Gastric fluids rushed up Tateno's throat. Yep, nope. He pitched forward onto his hands and knees and vomited on the spot. Oh! So maybe we did it. The sensation of pulling the trigger. The recoil in the wake of the shot. It was exactly as it had been all those years ago. But did he hit? He never wanted to fire a gun again. At this point, he'd probably never be able to. Yeah, I knew it. Where were you even aiming? The voice had come from right in front of him. He looked up to see Kanan standing right there. His heart began hammering like mad. This was the end. He braced himself for oblivion, even as his body cried out to survive. Wait. There was the dull roar of a gunshot, and then silence. Oh, Ah, rough. Oof. One last shot. God damn, this game. We gotta bounce to Stanley, I think. This game is so freaking intense. Oh, I can't jump to Stanley. Okay. Hey, I know. Let's play as someone different. Oh wait, couldn't I jump to Achi before? This is way too far back. This is no good. Jack? This was Tateno. Oof. I guess let's just go to Achi. I don't freaking know. Ugh. I have to sit through the gang showing up. Alright, we'll do a Leland's. We got this again. Mm-hmm. Look out, oh my god. The vials seemed to almost vanish against the backdrop of the evening sky. How many of them had this guy even thrown? There was no way to tell for sure. And if even one of them broke open, it would be a death sentence for Shibuya. They had to make sure they caught them all. Spinning around in the midst of the chaos, Achi saw Suzumu catch one vial deftly. This is awesome. Many of the other gang members appeared to have done the same. There's one more, over there! The desperate shout had come from Itome. She'd spotted a vial sailing in a high arc away from all the SOS members. Damn it! Achi launched into motion, ignoring the searing pain in his leg, but the falling vial was so far away. Yeah! It was now or never. He threw himself into a headfirst slide. Yes! Nice catch! The gang members broke out into cheering and applause. Achi got to his feet and looked around, but saw no sign of either Kano or Alphard. Hey Achi, if you're looking for the detective... Suzumu gestured with his chin. Achi looked and saw Kano far away across the scramble, chasing after Alphard. Soon both men were lost in the crowd. Achi would have charged off in pursuit as well, but his wounded leg made that impossible. Get him, detective, he murmured under his breath. We're counting on you. Alright. Oh, god damn it. Ah. Well, we're doing this. Tiny bits of metal tore through his arms, legs, and torso. He crashed to the ground and crumbled like a tattered rag. Well, that was fun while it lasted. There were screams coming from all directions, but as Achi started to fade from consciousness, the voices got softer and softer. Through the haze of pain, he saw a bloodied arm stretched out before him. This is a depressing ending. He saw a hand that had been clasped with his hand all day long. The fingers feebly reached out for him, and Achi intertwined them with his own. It took the very last of his strength. Then, Both hands subsided into stillness. This is one of the sadder endings, Jesus. LRG, we could just let Alphard back into the lab. We could try doing that again. That probably is the way to go, if we just don't let her walk away. Still, wanted to see that. Kano? Achi and Stanley. Well, no. This was a bad idea. Achi's not going to matter. Stanley, though? Oh, no, we already did Stanley, didn't we? Stalling Alphard delays the call. Yeah, actually, you're probably right. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's just go back to Titano. Send Kanan in? I mean, this did give us a jump, though. So I don't know. But what if we don't? Titano would have made up his mind. Is something the matter? Osawa asked warily. No. No, it's nothing. Then if you would be so kind. Osawa led the way. Kanan and Titano followed him toward the storage facility. It took about 20 seconds. Yeah. Deep underground. Checking IDs. Kanan approach. Laptop. It still says Kanan, which is a little weird. Slowly tap away. Warning sound. We've already read this. But I can't skip it, so this might be a good sign. I mean, we did have a jump if we delayed Kanan, though, so I don't know. Maybe we should have gone with the first option. I don't know. But she's typing away. It's fine. By the way, I gotta say, the getting shot by Kanan, that was a pretty long wrong end sequence. Going through the whole... Someone already mentioned this in the chat, but like the whole Die Hard thing. Alright, we're in. Get out. As soon as Osawa and his daughter were out of view, Titano drew his pistol. Kanan arched an eyebrow. What do you think you're doing? Just get out of here. Titano pointed the barrel of his gun at Kanan's face. Silently, she did as she was told, turning and walking toward the elevator. Oh, but wait, she did that last time, too. I think we're dead. He followed a few paces behind. She gave no hint of resistance. Now Titano needed to let Stanley know that they'd successfully opened the laboratory door. He pulled out a cell phone as he followed her into the elevator. As soon as he did, Kanan pressed herself flush against the wall. Whoa! A sudden explosion from within the corridor sent Titano careening off balance. He slammed into the elevator wall. Then, as he lay in a daze, the elevator doors drew slowly closed and the cab began to rise upward. Titano could tell that the impact had broken several of his ribs. Blood rose up from his throat and filled the inside of his mouth. He felt his grip on consciousness fading, but he managed to flip open his cell phone. Stanley, please pick up. He jabbed his thumb hard on the call button. We're still going, then? Stanley here. What's going on? Hey, has something happened? Hey, answer me. Oh, this was the missed call, like, rage from Stanley? But it was too late for Titano even to hear Stanley's voice. So that's what that was before. Now we have context from the other side. Interesting. A wordless warning. Wow. Alright, so no, we're gonna stall Kanan. Because that did give us a jump, so that was probably a hint right there, right? I'm only gonna do one more, like, I'm gonna do the jump and see where that takes me, and then I'm gonna end the stream. There's the save. Alright, now let me see about that jump. That's right, I can't jump to Stanley, though. Damn. So, Kano? I don't freaking know. But yeah, I did that already. Stanley? Was there something with Stanley I missed? That was Titano, though. I gotta be missing somebody, because Achi, I think, is at an impasse. Unless I choose the other option. Switching to Stanley during the negotiation? I don't know, maybe. He doesn't care if he survives. Oh no, he's gonna release the virus. Alphard met Achi's eyes, and seeing the haunted realization there, the terrorist flashed a wicked and triumphant grin. Enough of the high and mighty act, but wait, he didn't reach him in time. Oh no, it might have been the same thing anyway though. Yeah, Winterburn, I thought we were gonna beat the game tonight, but clearly something is going wrong. Oh, that's a good point, Fakafon. There's no keep out on Stanley. I didn't think about that. Oh, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Alright, yeah, I'll just go to Stanley then. I didn't even think about that. I'll just keep playing a Stanley, and then this will be the last thing I do for the night. To the lab. Doing it. Disarray. High alert. Can I scroll? I can. A little bit. Very little. Spit off to the laboratory. Okay. Oh, god damn it. Oh, wait. No. We have a jump towards Stanley, so maybe now we can do the jump. This might be a good thing. Haha! And what about Stanley? Is he on his way here? You're goddamn right. Bam! As he drove along, Stanley again tried to deduce Alphard's plan of action. If Alphard herself was on the way to the lab now, then what was the objective of the fake who'd been sent to the scramble? Decoy, Hitomi's blood, indiscriminate terrorism. Chat, what's it gonna be? We have a choice now. I don't know how much it matters, but we want to see if we can determine Alphard's motive. What was the objective of Leland going to the scramble? Because he could have gotten Hitomi's blood. Maybe. But then again, Alphard's right there by the lab. Act as a decoy? He is doing that, but was that the point? Or indiscriminate terrorism to keep things shaken up? So, do we have any choices we would like to select? Or any options? Chat. We have one for A. One for B. One for C, two for B. Good night, Wolfpack. So it's like 2 for A, 3 for B? Oh no, you're switching to B then. So, okay, overwhelming B. Honestly, I would have gone with Decoy, but alright. Alphard still hadn't gotten her hands on that. That must be why she proposed the exchange. No. Stanley sensed that he was jumping to the wrong conclusion. It was too easy, too obvious. Nothing was really as it seemed. Hitomi's blood wasn't the only means to obtain the antiviral. Alphard was on the way to the lab right now. So long as she was able to gain entry, she'd be able to get her hands on the antiviral there. Did that mean that the negotiations down at the Scramble were just a scheme for buying time? That didn't seem quite right. Aha! Stanley suddenly blurted aloud. He just realized what Alphard hopes to accomplish at the Scramble. Alphard had been careful to wipe out almost everyone she'd associated with in the past. That was precisely why all of her defining characteristics, such as age and sex and nationality, had been unknown. It was unthinkable that she'd allow this decoy, who almost certainly knew who she really was, to stay alive. And since Hitomi carried the antiviral in her body, Alphard likely wanted to get rid of her as well. In all likelihood, the terrorist mastermind was planning to steal the antiviral from the lab, but as long as some of it remained in Hitomi's bloodstream, she wouldn't have a monopoly on it. By arranging for Hitomi and the decoy to meet, she could eliminate them both at the same time. That's what her objective was. The question was how. Beginning with her bombings in Chicago, Alphard had made frequent use of remote-controlled explosives. It was likely that she'd opt for something similar here as well. But she wasn't going to be at the scramble herself, so how in the world was she going to trigger the explosion? Was there some clue to be found in something she'd said or done earlier? Think. Try to remember. Think. Try to remember. If he didn't do something, everyone at the scramble was probably going to die. Then, as he desperately racked his brain, he remembered something Kano had said. It had been a while while they were at the scene of the minivan explosion together. He said he'd heard a cell phone ringtone at the time of the explosion. Not sure if that's significant, though. Stanley recalled the recent exchange between Alphard and Hitomi. The two had called each other's cell phones. Alphard hadn't really been checking to make sure she had the right number. She's been checking to make sure Hitomi hadn't changed her ringtone. That was it. The bomb was set to detonate in response to a specific piece of music. And the ringtone on Hitomi's phone was the trigger. Where could the bomb be hidden, then? Stanley didn't have time to think. Oh no, Stanley's gonna have to relive that flashback with his brother, who apparently didn't defuse that one bomb on time. Oof. He needed to alert Kano and the others right away. As he pulled out his phone again, he recalled the map of the stakeout positions. Kano would probably be right next to the decoy Alphard. It might be a mistake to call him, under the circumstances. Maybe he couldn't risk calling Kano, but he could call Achi. Stanley dialed Achi Endo's number. Please don't let me be too late, he muttered to himself as he waited for the call to connect. But although he called repeatedly, Achi still didn't pick up. Was he already too late? Stanley dreaded the answer to that question. What? Don't do this to me. Oh, come on! Yeah, maybe I'll choose a different option. I don't know how much it matters, but I'll go with the decoy option, see if that makes any kind of difference. Honestly, but I'll try it. Decoy? But it wouldn't be a simple matter of providing a brief distraction. Alphard had been careful to wipe out everyone else. That's why I had to find a character. I can't skip this, though. Since Hitomi carried the antiviral, Alphard likely wanted to get rid of her as well. In likelihood, she was planning to steal from the lab, but Monopoly... Aha! My god. We did it. She meant to eliminate both Hitomi and her own decoy at the same time. But how? Remote control... Same thing. I still can't skip this, though. Oh, now I can. Alright, we'll see. Hello there, Jonathan. Piece of music. Ringtone. Where could the bomb be hidden? Didn't have time to think. Alert Kano. He recalled the map of the state... Oh, so we're calling Kano for real. He recalled the map of the stakeout positions. Kano would probably be right next to the decoy Alphard. It might be a mistake to call him under the circumstances. Maybe he couldn't risk... Oh. Achi again. Yeah, and we're still doing a keep out. Wow, man. Okay. Tano's at a bad end. Kano? No, we already did the jump to Stanley from Kano, though, didn't we? But this... Oh, no! Don't jump to Stanley. Just keep reading. Looks like we'll be able to have that beer together after all. Oh, but now we're dead? God damn it. Never mind. Where did the explosion come from? His lighter hadn't done it. Yeah, it's the same thing. Is this the same ending as before? Palmer had blown himself up. But that was confused. Yeah, we've already read this. So what else can I do? Maybe try going back to Achi? Yeah, I guess. I'll give it a shot. This is the bad end. I want to see if I can get, like, any little bit of advancement here. 68 a mysterious explosion. This is, like, the third mysterious explosion bad end. No, but jumping to... I mean, I'll jump to Achi just to see what happens, but, like, we die. There has to be something earlier I can do to this. Yeah, no, there has to be something we need to do earlier. in order to change things up. Achi's choice here didn't matter. I don't think this is going to matter. No, it has to involve Kano on the phone. I suspect, right? Who would call? Who would do calls? The only thing I could think of is Tateno, but what options do I have? Aiming at Kanan? I don't freaking know. I'll do a different thing with aiming from Kanan. Yeah, Fakafan, we've had Mysterious Explosion 65, I think 67, and 72. I don't want to pull this trigger. It's not that you don't want to pull that trigger. It's that you can't pull that trigger. Another step closer. You're still traumatized. It looks like it might be the same thing. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Ah, crap. No, there's no way out of that situation. Calling Hitomi? No time for nonsense. This is the time for nonsense we don't have. She shook her head and put her phone away, so she didn't call. If you're really Alphard, you don't need to hack the password. I'm guessing you've already gotten it from Tanaka. So we might have saved ourselves a little bit of time. Which means you'll be able to get your hands on the antiviral as soon as we get into that lab. Kanan didn't so much as flinch. We've already read this. Monopoly, eliminate Hitomi. Am I wrong? Yeah. I just want to get to the next save icon to see if I can skip text. So, Kanan never called. But this time Tateno calls Kano. Detective Tateno? What's going on? You need to get Hitomi Hasawa to safety immediately. Alphard isn't trying to get at her blood. He wants her eliminated. What? Hurry. Yes, sir. Once he'd gotten... Hey, we did it! Once he'd gotten Kano's confirmation, Tateno hung up. We did it! Now, we might go to a bad end here anyway, but at least we have a jump. Because now we're just going to peace out. This is great. And now your little plan has been foiled, Tateno said. Kanan snorted. Has it now? If I really am Alphard, all I need to do is eliminate you here and head right onto that lab. Intimidation... And now... Yeah, well, now we're dead no matter what. So now we'll do the last jump of the night. I cannot jump to Kano. Okay. Meowington, Achi was calling to Kano in one scene. Yeah, I guess we'll bounce to Achi, see if there's anything to do there. Protect Hitomi, I guess? I don't know if it matters. Yeah, it doesn't look like it matters. It's just Achi's prioritization. Well, no, this is potentially different. Alphard's composure? Maybe something actually will change here with the Protect Hitomi angle. This is just a bluff. We'll see what happens. Oh, but now it's the same thing? I'll see what happens, I guess. Hello, Anon. Yeah, let's see if this makes a difference. It's still up in the air. Okay. We'll see what happens. And we're going to protect Hitomi, I guess, instead of maybe jump for that one vial. I don't know. So they're catching, I guess. But this might still lead to a bad end, though. I don't know why it would, like, make me go through the motions, though, again. We got the save. Still a mystery, maybe? Okay. I don't know if I can catch it. But wait, applause. I fucking love that. Oh, it's different! Actually got to his feet and looked around. Oh no, is it different? We saw no sign of Kano or Alphard. No, we have read this. Kano's chasing him. Okay! I actually would have charged off in pursuit as well, but his wounded leg made that impossible. No, we have read this though. We have read this. Explosion? And no, it's a keep out. Interesting. It's not a bad end though. That's something. So that's good. And we can jump to Kano, I believe. And it's a valid jump. So I guess this is where we're going to pick up later then. But for now, I think I'm going to call the stream. So thank you very much for joining the stream and have a wonderful night.